Good afternoon, Flosstube. My name is Mandy. Welcome to my channel all about cross stitch. It's been a couple weeks since I filmed last, which seems to be my go-to lately. Part of reason why I can say that is I got hooked on working on a project, and that was all I worked on for like 6 days straight. Today is Wednesday, August 2nd. I feel like July just went by in a blink of an eye. This last half of the year just seems to be flying. I hope you've all been well since I filmed last. Last time I filmed my Flosstube. Last time I filmed a Flosstube was my whip parade of everything that I have touched this year so far that is not yet a completed finish. I don't know that I'll do any kind of a finished parade. I think I've had like 10 finishes so far this year, 11 maybe. But that's not really anything that's I'm planning at this time, so maybe at the end of the year we'll see. I've got a few projects to share today. I've got a new start that was fun, so yeah, might as well just dive right into it, shall we? So I know that I've seen quite a few people talking about doing this before. Jessie Marie, Sammy J, a few different people are talking about taking a project and separating it out and like dividing it out into like 12 equal spots or whatever to work on it throughout the whole year and finish at the end of the year. And I've been toying with the idea, just obviously it's July, so I'm not planning on necessarily doing anything like that for the finish this year. But last week, Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitchy, had posted on her Patreon doing something of that nature. She's got a project that she's planning on doing something as well. Again, not to necessarily finish by the end of this year, but, you know, with a set end date in mind. And I think she came up with a hashtag, Divide It Up Sal. And so I got to thinking of which projects I could easily do that with, and especially a project that I haven't necessarily worked on in a while. And I remember commenting saying, you know, here's looking at you, Halloween Quaker, and it worked out perfectly. So last night I ended up picking this up. I looked through, and it's actually working out perfectly that I, for 12 spots, that I could have it finished by the end of July next year if I stick with it. So Halloween Quaker, we love her, we know her, can't get enough of her. So as you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see these very crudely drawn red lines. I just used photo editor, you know, on my iPad, and just drawn in, and it worked out perfectly of what I had already stitched versus what, you know, still needs to be done and to get it into 12 months. So I've already got like this big one done. I think I've got over here, I've got the hat done. So I've got this, I've got the town done. So you can tell if I kind of come in a little bit, it may not necessarily be even. I have no clue about stitch wise, you know, what's one month may be bigger than another. Didn't pay any attention to that. I just figured out what motifs would I be able to do easily. And it could easily be done in just a matter of, you know, a couple of days stitching. So I picked this up last night and decided to get some stitching done on it. It's still on the Q-snap, and here we go. We've got a moon. And so this is gonna be one of, like, for the first, I figured I'd start with this one just because I had already started the white, so it was easy to, like, well, might as well finish this particular motif up. So I don't have them labeled as far as which areas I'll do which months, except for this lower right hand corner one. It's got spaces for you to chart out your initials with the year, so I think I'll just do that one last so that I can be able to put in the year that I finish last and everything as my way of my signature. So that's where we're at. So obviously I still have to stitch in the witch on her broom, but we've got a moon. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count Picture This Plus. I want to say the color is J-A-Y. It's a big piece. I got it all rolled up nice, and so I'm not gonna take that out. But as you can see, I've got, I'll take that part off. That corner done. And then all the way down, there's the little town. This does fit into Pattern Keeper nice and well. There's gonna be a spider web. I'll do that last, just because long stitches, I don't want the Q-snap to mess those up or anything. Besides that, I'm not really sure what else has back stitching. So besides that portion, everything else is working into Pattern Keeper quite well. Now, because I am using the called for overdyes, you know, it kind of, the color coding isn't the best, just because, you know, I think you can custom label it or something. I don't know. I just put in the DMC conversions, and then I'll just refer to the paper chart for the actual color names. But it was working really well for Pattern Keeper. I specifically wanted it because this town is across a couple different pages, and so I was getting myself all sorts of confused. And while it's a wacky little town as it is, I didn't want it to be even wackier because of getting off and not knowing how to fix it because of getting confused between pages. So I did get the PDF right from Leila's Studio Etsy store, and it, like I said, it works into Pattern Keeper quite perfectly, minus the back stitching. But again, I think the only back stitch on here is going to be the spider web. I've got the I've got the paper pattern itself, so I can just work off of that when I get to it. So that is Halloween Quaker. Thank you for others that have come up with the idea of dividing things up to make it, you know, get some progress on it. Hopefully I can stick with it. I would really love to see that piece finished, but I haven't worked on it. The last time I posted about it on Instagram, because I was looking to see, you know, I don't know, I was looking for a picture of it last night on Instagram, and now I forget now where I even worked on it. It was quite some time. It was sometime last year, but I don't even remember now when. Thought I was going to be able to say when I worked on it last, but that I don't even remember. So yes, we'll see how I can get progress on that. And the piece that I mentioned that I have gotten completely obsessed with, that I stitched on for 6 days straight, You're in the Woods, Bald Eagle. We're coming down to the wire. I have a tree, the big tree, 2 little trees over here, and 1 tree over here. So when I picked it up last, when you saw it after my whip parade, I still had the tail left to finish and a wing. So you can tell how much progress I've gotten since then. It's still on the Q-snap because I do want to get back to it. But there we go. Oh man, does he look good. I love these guys. So, yep. When I picked it back up, I still had the tail left to finish. I did this wing over here. I had to do the branch coming down the tree, and last night I stitched the little cottage. So I think we're definitely getting into the downswing of things. I know the tree on this side is going to be massive, but yeah, it's amazing how much time these little trees take, just I think because of the counting. It's not very regular, I guess. I don't know. It took me an evening to get just that little tree stitched in. So that is my year in the woods. 16 count be-stitch me, and I don't remember what colorway. So there is Year in the Woods. And my new start. I shared this recently. I think I talked about it last time, that I was wanting to get it started, so I got the material, which I followed Laura Stitching by the Shore's lead. She has talked about getting her Aida from, like, just when she wants plain white Aida for her full coverage pieces, from Amazon. It's Kato brand, I think is what it is. C-A-Y-D-O or something like that. She uses 18 count. I got 16 count. quite the deal, because normally I get my big pieces of Aida from 123 Stitch. It is like $34 for the 36 by 42, maybe something to that effect, for like 34 bucks. And so this big piece that I got on Amazon, I want to say it's a yard, because it was like, I don't even remember the measurements, 30 something by 59 or something like that, for $19. And holding it, stitching on it so far, I'm not seeing any sort of difference between what I've gotten from 123 versus the stuff that I got from Amazon. The only downside that I've seen so far from the Amazon, and it's not the end of the world, is they cut off the selvage edge. I like that little portion that has the selvage. Just, I don't know, usually I tend to put it in one certain spot so that I know every time I pick it up that I know that that portion's got to be on the bottom or on the left, you know, whatever the case may be. And I noticed that they cut that off. So again, not the end of the world, but that's the only difference that I've seen so far. So what we're talking about is Magic Book. And the really funny thing about this is that the fact that I got this on a store called Tiny Cross Stitches on Amazon, it's not tiny. It is not tiny at all. 50 some colors, I think. Not really necessarily a full coverage like you think of a Heaven and Earth or something, just because it's not, you know, completely square or rectangle. But boy, is it full coverage. See what I mean by it's not tiny? That's rolled up, but kind of, sort of, yeah. It's not tiny. And here we go. I can see some threads where I carried over here. Oh, once it's framed, it won't be seen. That is a lot of black. I don't think it is not one skein yet, but man, is that a lot of black. And I'm gonna be in black for a long time because the black comes way down. There's a lot more over here. There's a ton more over here. I did figure out that if I keep stitching my way this way, I'll get into color sooner than I will any other way. So I started in the center on this particular one just because that was going to be the easiest way to get to any stitching, rather than there's nothing upper left hand corner type of thing. It would have been way too much counting to try to figure out where to start for that, so that I didn't, you know, stitch off the material from getting it wrong or anything. So easiest point was just right there at that top castle point, whatever it's called. So 16 count white Aida, 2 strands, full cross. Whole lot of black. Like I said, I'm gonna be in black for a long time. But I think the colors on this are going to be so pretty, and I can't wait to get more progress on that. This is 2 nights worth of stitching, I think, because I got the material. When did the material come in? Oh, yeah, the material got delivered on Saturday. I started it Sunday, right? So Monday and Tuesday. No, yesterday was Tuesday. Started it Sunday, worked on it Monday. So yeah, this is 2 days worth of stitching. And a whole lot more to go, because I don't think I've even reached 1%. But that's okay. Any progress is progress, right? It is a little on the stiffer side, but again, I really don't think that it's a whole lot different from the 123, because that can be kind of stiff. So the other day, and I am including that project in my list of like how I can look at my full coverage projects. I've got a whip list, and so I bulked it into my full coverage. It's full coverage enough to be, it's a big project. It's going to take a number of years. So then I've like separated out all of my other, like the bald eagle and other non-full coverage stuff. And so I'm bulking that one into what's considered full coverage. One day last week, I don't remember now what day it was, I got the idea that I wanted to stitch full coverage after spending so many days on the bald eagle full coverage was calling to me, but I didn't know what I wanted to work on. I'm now up to 9 full coverage, including Magic Book. And so I wasn't really sure what was calling to me. So I did like a lot of other stitchers do, and I created a tiny decisions app wheel. I didn't create the app. I created a wheel on the app. And what got pulled? Dark Goddess. This is the mini version, so mini Dark Goddess. Artwork is by Carol Cavallaris and charted by Heaven and Earth. This is now my oldest Heaven and Earth. And we are slugging away through all that purple. I know I really put in this big purple swatch down here. Filled in some stuff over here. Basically, yeah, I was really working over here. I would pick a color and stitch as much as I could within that first kind of half of the page, because I know I've gone over a page over here, but yeah, basically I would just pick a color and stitch as far as I could with it. So I think I'm around 40%, give or take, on this one. So I should probably start making this a focus piece with it being my oldest one, but yeah. I enjoyed working on it the couple of days that I did. That is Mini Dark Goddess. I think this is going to be a short Flosstube because that's all I had to share today. I really don't have any haul. I did buy a couple of Quirky Quakers a few weeks ago. The Orca that Deanna created for in fact, I think it's only available through the end of this month. She's donating proceeds to a wildlife foundation. So if you've seen any of her Quirky Quakers, I got the Orca. I know I got some of the older ones. The Puffin and the Cauldron. I just got PDFs of those. So that's it in terms of haul. I did buy all kinds of floss, getting the floss left over what I needed for Magic Book. One day last week I went to Michael's and I had a voucher to use from their rewards program. I had a 20% off coupon. It brought those skeins down to like 42 cents a piece. I was happy with it. I think I spent like 16 bucks in floss to get what I needed for that project. So that's it in terms of haul. Planning, what is that? I do want to finish up my portion of this month's portion of The Witch. I'm really liking the idea of doing that. I just pulled off my so that's gonna be fun to have that broken down. I haven't even thought of any kind of like rhyme or reason of, setting goals of, wanting to do it a certain week of the month or anything of that nature. Haven't even thought that far. Just a matter of I would like to try to keep up with it in each month to try to get it stitched by the end of July next year. So that'll be pretty cool to see that getting progressed. Otherwise, I'm thinking I'm probably going to focus back on the eagle again. It's really nice to see that one getting progress. I don't remember now when I started that one. Birthday start? Last year? I don't remember when I started it. But then it sat for quite a while. And as much as I love that series, other stuff has called me is what it is. But I really have plans that I would like to stitch that entire series. So if it's taking me this long to stitch one of them, it's going to take me forever to stitch the entire series. But not like that I have any kind of deadline of wanting to get it all stitched by or anything of that nature. So when it gets done, it gets done. The same as any other project, right? Yeah, things are going really good here. I'm on my lunch break. I still got a little bit. I'm not working any overtime this week, which has been really nice to get a little bit of a break. I am working some more again next week. Pinball tournaments. I've got one this coming Saturday. I've got one next Saturday. I played in one not this past weekend, but the weekend before. That was actually hosted at my sister's house. That was so much fun. I did not finish last. That's always my goal lately, is just don't finish dead last. I mean, I finished maybe 20th out of 25 people, but hey, I did not finish last. That's the important part. No Stitch's sighting today. She is crashed out in the middle of my bed. She was looking so comfortable when I went in there before I started filming. I knew she wasn't gonna come out. She's quite comfy. Weather has been pretty mild here in Michigan. I'm absolutely loving it. It's been, I think it's been in the 80s this week, but not real hot and humid feeling like it's been last couple of weeks. So like the last couple of days I haven't even turned my AC on, so that's been really nice. But yeah, I feel like now I'm just babbling because I don't know what else to say. This definitely didn't need to be as long as it ended up being, just because I'm sitting here babbling without much to say. I don't know. We're just gonna keep stitching. I have no plans for any special, no more starts or anything of that nature. I literally just started that book I feel like I'm gonna want to keep calling it book magic book. I started that Lady Halloween a couple weeks ago, so yeah, no specific plans in regards to that. I just want to keep stitching on what I got going. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting lots of stitching in, and stitch on what brings you joy. We'll see you again next time. Take care.